Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Elise, Plan with Elise, and today is day 7 of the 25 days of planner tips and tricks. This is an annual collaboration video where Tamara of the Paper and Pen Girl brings you 25 different planners, and we're all here each day to share a different tip about planning with you. So my tip today is going to be how to plan based on evaluating where you're at in the month in terms of monthly goals, your previous week, your previous month, and making sure that your planner is aligned with where you want to be in terms of your goals. The first step is going to be actually sitting down and setting some goals. There's a little bit of work involved here. It's really important to look at the different areas of your life and decide what you'd like them to look like. What do you want your finances to look like? What would you like your physical environment, your health and wellness, your business and career, family, relationships? There's so many different categories that you can choose from when it comes to setting your goals. And the most important part is actually looking at the month ahead before you goal set to see what's coming. For example, this is December. It's a really busy month. Not only are there a ton of holidays this month, but it is also a busy month as we are trying to wrap up a year, set up our planners for the new year because we are planners and there is so much that's involved. So when I was setting my December goals, I was really trying to be mindful of what was coming up this month and if I'd actually have the ability to achieve everything that my brain decides that I can do in a month. Sometimes we have all of these grand dreams for our planners and that they're going to change our lives. And when we look at the reality of the actual monthly calendar, there's just not space for all of that every time. So the first part of this tip is really being mindful of the goals you're setting and if you'll actually have time to achieve them. Next up, you're going to want to set weekly goals. Looking at your monthly goals, decide how you can break down any of those monthly goals into the week. Here's an example. One of my monthly goals has been to reorganize my office and actually just organize my office, finally get it in place. I knew that that wasn't all going to happen within the first week of December, but what I could achieve in the first week of December is make sure that everything in packaging is out. Put things back where they belong, get the boxes out, get the tissue paper out. Anything that was still sitting in a package needed to be physically removed from my office. My week 2 goal in terms of my office was taking anything that I don't need daily access to and moving it somewhere else because I have a secondary closet in another space in my home. So while the overall goal was organizing my office, the secondary goal in terms of each week becomes a little bit here and there that'll ultimately get me to where I need to be. Now, the focus of my tip in today's video is evaluating the previous week. So let's say that last week I was not able to move everything over to my office. Before we sit down to write out our weekly plans, it's really important to look back at last week and say, what didn't get checked off? What should have been written down? What's coming up? And not just opening our planner and starting fresh each week. Because sometimes, especially during a busy season like this, it can be so easy to just push forward, move to the next day, and not actually look back and see what we may have missed. Now, another example of making sure that you're aligned with your overall goals is a goal that I've been putting in my planner for probably the last year or so, and that is to have 2 plans with friends in the month and 2 plans with family in the month. As someone who works from home and lives by myself and everyone's lives are so busy, I really have to be intentional in terms of nourishing the relationships that I have with others. Sometimes that ends up being making sure that I'm writing in my planner to text my friend to ask what their month looks like. And that's the action step, right? Is saying, when can we get together this month? What does this day look like for you? Things like that, if my overall goal is to connect with others a little bit more, seeing my friends, seeing my family, What goes in my planner is actually taking the step to make sure it happens by reaching out. I also had a goal in the fall of reconnecting with friends I haven't seen in a while. So, kind of going through and making a list of friends that I haven't seen in months, some of them actually years, and reaching out to say, let's get together. So, I think that to summarize, really where I'm looking at things when we want to make sure that we're aligned with our goals is looking at the month ahead and seeing how much you actually have time for, what's coming up, what absolutely needs to be accomplished. Sitting down to set weekly goals and deciding what you have room for in your week. And that's important too, right? What do you actually have room for this week? The same way we do with a month. And then as you're sitting down to write your weekly goals or even just your weekly plans, take a look back at last week. See what didn't get done, what you maybe delegated to your future self in this week, and also checking back within your monthly goals to make sure that you're aligned with what you set at the beginning of the month. Sometimes things are going to change, right? Where we start at a beginning of the month sometimes is very different from where we end up. And I experienced that this year where I set my annual goals in January is nowhere where I thought I'd end up in December. Even if I'm looking back at earlier in the month, at the beginning of April, I set a goal to talk to my accountant to see if maybe buying a house was going to be something that I could do this year. And 19 days later, I was under contract and in escrow to buy a house that I ended up moving into in June. And so life changes, sometimes for the better, sometimes for the worse, but our planners give us the power to evaluate, see what needs to be done, and really map out our dreams. So that is it with my tip. Make sure that you check out yesterday's video of Plannerista 101, and then you look to tomorrow's video of Rochelle Plans. I'm so excited to be part of this collaboration for another year. Thank you to Tamara for including me. Please let me know what you think of my tip down below and how you evaluate your week to make sure that you are aligned with your goals. Happy holidays, and please subscribe to my channel if you're not yet subscribed. Thanks for watching, and I will see you soon.